Step right up and join the most vibrant circus community in the world, circustalk.com. This is In Center Ring. I'm your host, Jonathan Lee Iverson. He is the U.S. Navy veteran who had come to find his passions lie not upon the roaring high seas, but the soaring circus skies, a stunning and impassioned showman whose artistry has thrilled many across the globe. In Center Ring presents Jason Spann. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Mr. Abs himself. I can't tell you how much I'm jealous of you. I hate your guts. Literally, your guts. How you doing, Jason Spann?
I'm great, John. How are you?
I'm good. For all of those who are wondering why I'm hating, why I'm being a hater, is you got to go on this gentleman's social media pages. They're epic. He's so good looking. And he's in such great shape. And I mean, I hate going by it because, you know, usually when I'm flipping through the phone, just wasting time, I have a donut or something in my hand and I feel shamed. You're shaming. It's cool, man. I just love it. I love the journey, man. Now, you were in the U.S. Navy, right?
I was in for 10 years.
Wow. Okay. What was that adventure like?
It was awesome. Like all things, I mean, it had its ups and downs. When I enlisted, it was during the time of the war on Iraqi freedom and the war of Operation. So it's Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. And of course, there's also the era of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So of course, me being a gay man, I joined the armed forces, knowing that was a regulation out there. And so it's like, you know, I try to keep it together, but it was actually a great experience. I learned a lot, made some lifelong friends that became family, and it's definitely given me a lot of tools that I still carry with me today. So.
You know, I always love performing for veterans, and we always welcome veterans to the show. One of my greatest gigs in my life was I used to sing with the USO. Yeah, and I just love performing for veterans. So first and foremost, thank you for your service. And
thank you.
Yeah, one of the things that some of the veterans would say to me is they understood the correlation between circus and the military. You know, that in many respects, I mean, a lot of that stuff is so political because, like, who really cares what your colleague does in their bedroom when you have bullets whizzing by your head?
Exactly.
It's like, please save my life. I like, you know, it's like, I really, that's his business. Just let's not get shot. You know, it's like, so you were in a combat, capacity because that was during your service.
A little bit. I was very fortunate that I didn't go to Iraq. I didn't go to Afghanistan. I would say the closest form of combat that I did get was in Kuwait. And the only thing that I really saw is when we had a couple of bodies that were flown into us from Afghanistan that we had to package up and send to Moscow, Germany. And then from Germany, they got sent to the United States for burial. But that's the closest things to war that I've ever gotten to, thankfully.
Yeah.
But majority of my time was working in a clinic because I was a hospital corpsman, so I worked in outpatient healthcare for 10 years.
And that is still a passion of yours as well.
It is. It really is.
That's awesome. I mean, especially now, I know, you know, our first responders are like they're the gods right now dealing with COVID and all those things. Man, you up here starting us off like a superhero already. Navy. You know,
thank you.
First responder and great abs. You suck. This is you could get like a medal or something. No, this is so cool, man. I mean, so take us through that. So you joined the Navy, and I know we spoke before, and you said, you know, you did start out in gymnastics. I mean, you did that quite a while. And don't be humble here because you know, you almost made the Olympics. So it wasn't like, oh, you know, I'm just taking gym class after school. No, you were like really competitive. I mean, wow, that's something. How did you get started in gymnastics? What drew you to gymnastics? Because most of us aren't doing that. I don't think it has anything to do with some
True.
macho thing. I just think it's just like, I think most boys see it and go, that's a lot of work I don't need. I know I was one of them. I was like, no.
It's funny. In fact, I was actually talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. Um, and it actually all started back from my early childhood. I remember my parents were having a cookout, and it was a Florida Georgia game going on. And in fact, we just had the Florida Georgia game in Florida yesterday. So I remember seeing the Florida Gators cheerleaders on TV, and I shouted to my parents, like, "Oh, I want to do that. That looks cool." And my mom took me to a recreational gymnastics program that was after school. And once I got older, my mom told me that the lady pulled her aside and said, "Hey, you're wasting your time. You need to take your son to an actual gymnastics facility. And here's a couple of contacts that I can put you in contact with."
Wow.
And I remember the first time I set foot in an actual gymnastics gym was United Gymnastics in Jacksonville. And I remember thinking, well, this wasn't what I saw on TV, but this looks amazing, and I definitely want to try it. And started when I was 8, started competing that same year, fell in love with it, and I competed until I was about 18.
Wow. Okay. So this is really cool, man, because I mean, you just pop up, "Hey, I want to be a cheerleader." And your parents are like, "All right, well, we'll see what we'll do." No objections or
Yeah,
anything like that.
no.
That's so wonderful, man. I mean, look, I think a lot of people, I didn't want people to miss that at all. I don't want them to miss that at all, because it's so
Thank you.
very important, for any kid, whatever, I always tell parents all the time, it may seem strange to you, or it may not,
Yes.
whatever it is. But I mean, as long as it's not breaking any laws and it's not illegal or something, getting
Yes.
them in some kind of trouble, let them try it, and I think that's pretty. And look,
Hmm.
it's still, I mean, it's an incredible activity. Competitive cheerleading is crazy. Like,
Yes.
I've
They do
watched,
some ridiculous stuff.
yeah, like it's some serious stuff. Like, I honestly, if my kid came and said, "I want to do competitive," I'd say no, only because I'm afraid.
See, that's how my parents are. Like, my mom, she said, I thought I was afraid to watch you back then, and then now you're flying 30 feet in the air. I damn sure can't watch you now, so I'm
Right.
gonna have a heart attack.
You got some really supportive parents, man. Really supportive.
Thank you.
That's
I'm
really
very blessed
wonderful.
and fortunate.
That's awesome. So then you made your transition right into the Navy. But I'd love to really get I want to kind of understand, the almost Olympic journey. You almost got there,
Yes,
and like, how much work
almost.
did that take? And how, I mean, obviously everybody wants to go to the Olympics. I mean, but what was that process like? Just working that hard and not making
Hmm.
it. But I mean, to me, I don't want to sound sappy, but I think it's still some kind of victory. I mean, because to have that kind of focus, it is no joke to try to make it to the Olympics. I mean,
Yes,
tell me about that. What was the training like for you? I mean, how focused, how much did it matter to you?
it mattered a lot to me. I remember seeing John Roethlisberger at the Atlanta Olympics and seeing the Han brothers and being like, "Wow, I want to be like them." And then I remember like wanting to train all the time. Like I was just in love with it. It's like I would go to school and then I'll come home, do like 30 minutes of homework, and then I was at the gym for about 4 to 5 hours, 5 days a week, just training. And it's like it was my second home and my second family. And
Mm.
unfortunately, I had a couple of falls in my last competition that I did. And at the same time, I was also distracted because I was in high school. I had joined the cheerleading squad for my school and made a lot of friends. And I kind of wanted to detour a little bit and said, I want to go to Olympics, but I really like my social life and I love my friends. And I remember I didn't make the score that I needed to in order to go on. And I said, you know what? This was a dream. Maybe someday I'll still make it. If John Roethlisberger made it to the Olympics in his 30s, maybe there's still time for me. And I was 17 at the time. Um, and I remember watching the 2004 Olympics that was held in Athens, and that was my dream. And I remember crying watching that competition, and my dad told me, "Don't worry, everything will be all right." I applied for a gymnastics scholarship. I didn't get it, and I was like, "Well, I want to be a nurse. School is expensive. I can't afford it. My dad was in the Navy. He retired in the Navy. Why not? Kill two birds with one stone. I can travel and get hands-on experience in the medical field." And that's what kind of took my life from competitive gymnastics. And then I went into my naval career and found another passion for medicine.
I dig that. That's cool. That's really cool. I have a number of friends who are nurses, and I mean, it is quite the profession. It is quite the profession, and you all are definitely, again, you need it now more than ever. More than ever. My goodness. So, all right. So you're in the Navy. You have your goals. You have your plans. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy this naval career, travel the world, do my thing, get this hands-on experience in medicine, and then that sneaky circus bug comes. When did it happen?
So it happened when I was stationed in Washington State. This happened back in 2012. I remember downloading Instagram and seeing an artist named Waverly, who's based out of Asheville, North Carolina. And I remember seeing her on red silks, and the picture was taken in an abandoned nuclear power plant. And I was like, wow, regular people do this. Oh my goodness, I want to be like this. I want to try this. And I got put on the back burner because I was like knee deep in medicine and wanted to get credentials and trying to get promoted. And so I'd say my last year in the Navy, give or take, I was like, you know what? I want to research this some more. And then I stumbled across Cirque du Soleil on YouTube. And I'm just like, holy moly, like, this is real? People really do this? Like, I want to try this. And before I knew it, I'm taking silks classes, and then I see pole, and I start taking pole classes, and then I start to like have my hands in all the cookie jars. I want to do all the things, and one thing led to another, and I was very fortunate to leave the Navy and jump into a circus career, make that a new career path for me.
That is so awesome. Now, you mentioned your pole work. Again, you're trying to play very humble and all this, but I've done my homework, sir. And I stumbled upon a pole competition you won. And I got to tell you, it was just so funny watching it because, there you are, the nice abs or whatever. And just hearing women in the audience. I just kept thinking the hypocrisy here. In my younger days, during my late nights of research, as I call it, and I'd see a lot of pole athletes. We were condemned then, but now it's a competition,
right? It's everywhere, and I love it.
It's amazing though, because I mean, I watch it, and even when I was going to those places when I was younger, right? I used to, me and my running buddy, I used to like, gosh, man, those women are in shape. Like you could see. And we used to joke, man, this should be a competition or something. Of course, it's grown to that. I think it's going to be an Olympic sport now, I heard.
Yeah, hopefully. That's what we're pushing for.
Yeah, so, it just might as well be. I mean, because it takes a lot. It's a lot of core work, a lot of core strength. I mean, that's the big thing. And it's very impressive. And to see guys do it is really fascinating.
Yes.
I mean, like, what's that like? I mean, what's that kind of competition? Like, I feel like it's like a Will Ferrell movie waiting to happen.
It was really shocking to me. It was a really big eye opener. because when I left the Navy, I moved back to Jacksonville, and I got in touch with a friend of mine, and then he actually brought me into the studio that he was training at called Bittersweet, and that's where I'm still at right now, thankfully, you know, and they've actually opened a lot of doors for me since I've been there. And Bittersweet was the studio that introduced me to the U.S. Pole Sports Federation, and they also had a lot of people going to their studio that competed in the PSO competitions, the Pole Sport Organization competitions. And I remember when Bittersweet hosted the U.S. Pole Sports Championships in Jacksonville, Florida, back in 2016. I was a volunteer, and I remember seeing artists, male and female, from all over the world, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then seeing children go up there, and I'm just like,
wow,
what? How do they make their bodies look like they're just levitating, like gravity doesn't even apply to them, you know? And it was just so amazing. And I remember the owner of the studio saying, yeah, like we have kids that do pole. And the first thing in my mind being that I was conditioned that pole is a negative thing. And I was like, wait,
right.
kids do pole? And I'm like, well, let me check this out. You know, let me see what we're doing over here. And then I went over, did a couple of things. I was like, man, this is hard. And I'm up for this challenge. And then seeing the kids at the studio that also do it, and then finding out that there's kids all over the world that also do it, you know, and I'm just like, wow, I wish I had this when I was a kid, because there's no telling where I would be physically and professionally as a career nowadays if I wouldn't have this during my childhood. And then seeing both men and women 50 plus doing things that I wasn't even capable of doing, that was definitely very inspiring for me. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm like, this is what I like. And then seeing that the pole community also was intertwined with the circus community, it definitely made me feel like home, like I had a place of belonging.
Well, you know, I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, you think of, I remember, you know, when I was on the Ringling show, we had Chinese pole acts, you know, and it's something we don't think about until like, oh, okay, it's not just about exotic dancers or something. Like the pole is, you know, there's a lot of ways, you know, this thing is used. So, I mean, you think about it too, you know, the classic playground. I remember when I was a kid, when we had playgrounds before they started shutting them all down, you know, you always had the pole. They had like, but it was like,
so true.
You remember they have to play, and we always just climb of it like firefighters. That's how we thought of it. Like you just climb. Up. But I mean, I would have never thought about doing a flagpole and all that stuff where you actually need to be in shape, you know. and so I'm curious to know, like, what's the conditioning you have to go through to build yourself up for competition to be actually a world class, you know, pole performer.
For me, it was a lot. Like, of course, coming from a gymnastics background, I'm used to doing skill after skill after skill. But when it came to pole, not only did I have to combine the skill and go by the code of points, but I also had to incorporate an artistic element. So that's been my biggest struggle. And I'll admit, I've only taken one semester of dance, but then I took dance recreationally when I was stationed in Guam. And having to combine both of those and doing flexibility classes and strength and conditioning classes, it was a different beast that I was willing to take on, because not only did I have to be flexible, both passively and actively, but I also had to know which muscle groups to engage and a lot of different techniques to conserve energy while I'm in the air, to survive for a 4-minute pole routine, to go from a spinning pole to a static non-spinning pole and do a combination of elements and still make it look as effortless as possible.
That's the name of the game, honestly. And that is the ultimate, you know, to combine the aesthetic with the science of it is really, I think it's quite fascinating. I'm glad I'm a ringmaster and I just get to stay on the ground. because that's amazing to me, man. I mean, to
Thank
be in that
you.
kind of condition, and I know you're an instructor as well in fitness and things like that, and you also teach
Yes.
your disciplines as well. I would like to know, um, obviously you entered into this whole new world, and you were surprised by how many men were involved, and and
Yes.
things like that. And so you don't hear about many men who are like in pole or even aerial work. I mean, we know because we're in this business, we see a lot of different aerialists, but I mean, I don't think the average
Yes.
person realizes the community of men that are in it and the benefits for the male body. um
Yes.
be aerial disciplines. I mean, can you speak on that,
Hmm.
what it's like for what you've seen, for yourself and for, I guess, other gentlemen you've worked with?
It's definitely very inspiring, you know. I remember going to the gym and doing lap pull downs on the machine and doing leg press and everything. And then coming into the circus world, it's like you see a bass and a porter, and it's like, damn, this man is like flipping another human body with their legs simultaneously. Like, I can't do that on a leg press. Like, I get more of a workout doing that instead. And then, of course, seeing the men on straps, even women on straps. And I'm like, that's the same body movement and same technique that I would do with the lat pull down in the gym, but except not only are they spinning and fighting that gravitational pull with the centrifugal forces, but they're also lifting their body in a way to where it looks so easy.
Mhm.
And just the science behind it, the physical aspects behind it, it's, I don't know, I have never been in such great shape in my life until now. I mean, even back in my prime gymnastics days, yes, I always had my slips. Yes, I always had some sort of back, but never have I ever had this kind of strength, like natural pound for pound strength and flexibility and mobility that I have now in my mid 30s compared to when I was in my mid teens.
Wow.
And I think is very beneficial for anyone, whether they want to do it professionally or recreationally. You not only are you getting a great workout, but in my opinion, I feel like you can build social relationships with people who are on the same wavelength and say, hey, you know what? I want to come here and chill, escape for a little bit, get in a good workout and have fun all at the same time.
I love it. I mean, and really speak on that, community, because you've touched on that a little bit, how important community has been to you.
Yes, it
And I
really
mean, and
has.
you've been very fortunate. I mean, it's like, when we look at it, I mean, you hit two birds with one stone. You're a black man in this field, and you're in the
Yes,
LGBTQ community as well. And so,
yes.
I mean, you're two odds out usually in broader community,
Yes.
where you have to deal with all of the obstacles that come with that. But here it is
Hmm.
in this community. It's been, I mean, and I'm only assuming you can tell, I'm sure you've had your, there have been some stumbles and challenges or what have you. It always is. But
Yes.
for the most part, there is this welcoming aspect where you do see at
Mhm.
least more of a meritocracy that's actually lived, people get to live up to, rather than it just being lip service. And
Yes.
I'd love for you to address that. What's that been like? Knowing, okay, look, I got these two things I got to juggle that I can't do nothing about.
Yeah.
And
It's been very, very, very welcoming. I remember stepping into the studio for the first time. I was like, "Ooh, I feel really intimidated here. Like, I feel like the odds all out. Like, what's going on? Like, these people are freaking amazing." And then it's like after a while, they're like, "Yeah, we're just regular people. Like, want to try this? Like, sure, why not?" And then I don't know. It's just like this very welcoming community, especially like the studio that I work at, even the studios all over Jacksonville. And practically every studio that I've been to has been very welcoming and inclusive of all ages, all races, sexual orientations, religious backgrounds. I remember teaching several workshops at a studio in Navarre, which is right next to Pensacola. And they have a client there who is Muslim and just all different walks of life. And it's just so amazing. And it's just so warm. I don't know, I just feel so warm to know that you can practically go anywhere in the world and in the circus community. Granted, yes, there are some dark days in the circus community, as we all know, but just overall, with my experience, it's been nothing but warm welcomes. And I remember going to the rehearsal facility when I got hired with Aida Cruises. I remember walking in and seeing people from Ukraine, seeing my flyer from Romania, and I was like, wow, my God, look at all these people. And then I'll get in the air and they're like, what, you're wowed by us? You're just as amazing yourself. And I was like, what, you think I'm amazing? What? And then it's just a collection of people that was just welcoming with open arms, and it's been nothing but love.
It's really interesting how transcendent talent can be, and how it just breaks down a lot of those walls and people just get to the show, you get to work. And so you've spent a lot of your life at sea.
Quite a bit. It's funny, I've actually seen more of the world now working for a cruise company compared to when I was in my Navy days.
Okay. Now, how many cruises have you worked for?
I've only worked for AIDA, so they're the only cruise company that I worked for, and I've been able to be very fortunate to do 2 contracts before COVID took the world,
Right.
But I was actually en route to do my 3rd contract with AIDA before the world shut down. But hopefully reopen back in the spring, and I'll be able to get back out there and rekindle all those friendships with everyone all over the world, and
you and me both,
create more magic.
You and me both. I know the feeling, because everybody says, I had all these contracts, and one little virus, man, it's just crazy. Now, I know you did a wonderful virtual show not too long ago. I saw some advertisements for it. Of course, I hated it with my heart because everybody had great abs. Everybody was so gorgeous. So tell us about putting that together, because a lot of us are doing those things now. We're having these virtual offerings and things like that.
Yes.
Tell us about that show. I mean, because I wanted to catch it, but I had something going on.
Yeah, so that show is with a company called Late for Day, and the show was called Erotic, and it was an additional show that they produced called After Dark. So it was pretty much a very sexy burlesque circus show, which
so not for children of all ages.
Love. Well, I mean, I think it's for 18 and up, but but it was freaking amazing. Like, all those artists are so incredibly talented, and they're so freaking amazing, and they were so awesome to work with. It pretty much taught me a new respect and a new love for the physical body, because it's like they created a show in a way to where you can appreciate the aesthetic of the human body, and witnessing the strengths and feats that each person was doing in the air, and just even our ground contortionist, just the way she maneuvered in and around her own body. I was like, what? It was amazing. And seeing the responses from the audiences once we got finished with the show, and it was amazing. And I've actually been very fortunate to do several virtual shows, which I'm excited to do the upcoming one with Omnium.
That's right.
I'm really excited about that one that's coming up. So I'm definitely looking forward to possibly bringing that magic to the screen again. And then hopefully in the next year, they'll be able to take it to a live touring show, and we'll be able to bring that same magic and that same energy under the big top.
Yeah, Omnium, a bold new circus. That's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. I just worked with a wonderful gentleman, Brandon, And, we just filmed our portion of the upcoming show. I hope folks, I'll be running my mouth about that, folks. So stay tuned. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I saw they posted some advertisements with you and your pole and your doggone abs. And it was great on the Omnium page. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, because I'm learning more and more how many people are involved in the actual presentation. So it's going to be something else. And I think the thing I love about it, is, of course, is Lisa B. Lewis's baby. And I just love the whole idea behind Omnium, because it is really at the heart of what you always hope Circus is about. And that's what she's pushing for. And I'm so happy to be on board with that. And I'm glad you're performing in it. With so many others, so many extraordinary talents. And it's just going to be wonderful to be a part of that. And I'm looking forward to when we get back under the big top, because I'm tired of being cooped up in here. Like, this ain't real. So, you've been doing one of the virtual offerings, and you have this great history with the cruise industry and your naval career and all of these things going. What are you looking forward to? Before I get there, what's your daily routine like right now? I know you instruct as well, but what else goes into just maintaining or progressing for Jason Spann?
So daily routine is I pretty much usually wake up around 9 in the morning, check emails, check the daily schedule, see what's going on at the studio, see if there's any private lessons set up for that day. Of course, I'll get in a bit of stretching, try to free my mind a little bit and take it day by day and raid the kitchen, eat a lot of snacks, go on social media and communicate with some friends that are now within the city and try to keep in touch with people. And then, of course, in the evenings, I try to go to the studio, work it out, teach, and try to come up with new material and new pathways to teach my students, both in studio and virtually.
Okay. So you basically do you also do solo trapeze as well?
I did on the ship. I have a duo trapeze act, and then a part of that duo act, I have a solo part. And on my last contract, I was very fortunate to create a solo trapeze act. And I'd say the reason why I created that act is because I didn't have access to a hoop, which was, I'd say, is my main specialty nowadays. And I figured, well, it's a bar apparatus. It's the next best thing. And I figured, maybe there's some things I could transfer. Maybe there's some new things I could learn. And I don't know, it was just a great experience. And I actually want to dabble into trapeze a little bit more.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Yeah. See, I just snuck that in there because I'm like, I can see you doing it. I hope you really, no, I do. I hope you bite down into that. I mean, because I know you do chiffon, you do the hoop, definitely, which you kill on. And of course, your world champion pole person out there got people screaming and hollering.
Thank you.
In auditoriums. That's so awesome. So what is, what's at least the immediate future look like for you? What do you have planned? I know we're doing Omnium. What other projects do you have lined up, or even what acts are you working on? What can we expect from you?
Well, as of right now, with Omnium, so I'm working on that, and I'm still working on it. Like, I'm always trying to, I'm going back to look at my videos and seeing the material that I recorded. I'm trying to figure out new pathways to make it better, so that when, hopefully, God willing, when it does open up and tour, I can take that piece and revamp it and make it even more better than what it currently is. I currently did a silk tutorial video with Circus, a company called Circus, with my friend Doug Stewart. So I did a tutorial video with them, and it's on their Patreon. All right. I'm currently, of course, still an instructor with Bittersweet Studio. So I'm doing in-studio instructing and virtual instructing. And yeah, so just a few projects here and there that I'm working on. And,
Yeah, man, you're a busy boy. You're a busy boy. That's all right.
mm,
Now I'm curious to know, what do you eat? And don't sit up here and tell me you eat a bunch of junk. I'm gonna punch you in the face, because I know you don't eat a bunch of junk. Tell me the truth, man. Because I'm trying to I got to get rid of this dad bod of mine. What do you eat?
Well, you're not gonna like it, but I totally smashed a bucket of chicken wings and some Keebler's Fudge Stripes while drinking strawberry soda infused with some red berry Ciroc vodka, and I like pigged out. But
Golly.
yeah, I really need to eat healthier, but I tend to eat anything I can get my hands on. I love the Patty Melt from Whataburger. I love French fries. I love potato chips and Reese's peanut butter cups and gummy bears.
This is so unfair. Everything is so stinking unfair. It's like I don't get it. It's like people are killing themselves. You all need to go to his Instagram page. Tell me your Instagram handle so we get it right.
So you can find me on Instagram under Gymnast J, or you can search by my first and last name, Jason Span.
Yeah,
and that's both for Instagram and Facebook. You can, of course, search me by my first and last name.
Wait till you see him, okay? It's unfair. All you people out there killing yourselves, just give up. It's genetics, man. No, that is so cool, man. That is so cool.
Thank
man.
you.
I mean, look, I'm not hating you. If I could eat like that and look like you, I'd go for it, man. In fact, I wouldn't even, I would suggest you don't change your diet, because you might kill yourself. You know? You might, who knows? Everything may go downhill. He's like, try to go vegan. This is not happening here. I look like Jonathan. This is terrible.
I actually did try several vegan dishes when I was working with Erotics when I was down in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And it was actually really delicious. Like,
they do have some good vegan dishes out there. I had a friend of mine who's like great opera singer. Dan O'Coolidge is his name. And so he, I think he's a vegan but he took me to this vegan restaurant. We are always going at it about clean foods and stuff. But so I decided to be open-minded. And he took me to this beautiful restaurant in Harlem, New York, when he was there for a minute, because he's always traveling the world. He's an opera singer. But wow. There's some great dishes out there. I try to tell people, have an open mind. I mean, you never know. I consider myself an omnivore. I'll try just about anything, basically. They have some really good dishes. There's some good stuff out there.
They do.
I don't think I could do it long term. I love a burger, man. Me and burgers have a relationship.
And it's funny. I actually tried the vegan diet several years ago, and it didn't work for my body. I was lacking some of the nutrients that I needed, and so then I went back to eating meat. But yeah, like some of the dishes that they hooked up down there, and I was like, wow, this is like pretty delicious, know. And
well, I always tell people to be careful with it. Any diet you have, you just have to know what works for your body, and you have to eat specifically for you. Like I have a buddy of mine, and he was telling me, he said, for years I tried to do low carb and all that. He said, then I remembered I'm Italian. I'm like, yeah. It's like, he's like, yeah. He said my body just, it wouldn't take, and it's like, yeah, you just have to, if you're being healthy and, you respect whatever your body does, then just do that. I think a lot of it comes from people like you who shame the rest of us. And then we think, oh, I could get those abs. Maybe you're not supposed to have those abs. Be happy with your one ab. Be happy with it and just respect that.
Yes.
So are you going to, let's say, are you still looking into medicine, into nursing, or are you just, you're just going to keep flying until you drop?
That's my goal. Like, I want to keep flying until I drop, but I know that I will eventually go back into medicine, because I was actually working on my undergrad for the nursing program before I got hired with AIDA. So I know I kind of like to have the best of both worlds. So you have the circus and performing arts aspect, and then I have the medicine aspect, and I love them both dearly. So I know that once my body doesn't allow me to perform anymore, then of course I'm going to go back into medicine, because I know medicine will always be here. And I know that is a passion of mine. And I always want to help the next person get better and get on a track of bonus, even though I might not be flying in the air. So that's definitely my goal to get back to.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Cause I mean, I was trying to sneak that in and see, well, is this a backup plan or does he really love it? But that's pretty cool the way, you actually really love it. And no, I mean, why not? I would love to know. I was thinking of this question earlier. So with your career in the Navy and then transitioning into Circus, what parts of, what things did you take from the Navy?
The main thing that I definitely took from the Navy and brought into the circus world is attention to detail. So the military is very adamant about knowing your instructions inside and out, being very attentive to where you're going, how you move, your surroundings. And those have been some of the things that I really incorporated into the circus world that I still use today. Even when I travel both locally and abroad, I'm always trying to be aware of my surroundings, trying to be culturally aware so that I don't offend other cultures that are different from my own, and to be as welcoming with those other cultures, and to take a stance of being open-minded and being willing to learn. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned with the Navy, because it's so diverse and you're surrounded by so many different cultures that you have no choice but to be open-minded and embrace all those cultures and be willing to learn.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Hey, man, I really appreciate this, man. Thank you so much. This has been
absolutely
such a joy, man. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, he is the high-flying fly guy, Jason Spann. That's your new name, the Fly Guy.
Fly Guy, here I am.
Awesome, man.
The Black experience in circuses go back hundreds of years, and we do it with our own style. The circus has been a microcosm of the outside world. Many of the same prejudices that you see in the outside world are present in the circus.
So it's moving past the vision or the limited vision that the society has for you and stepping into the talent and skill that you know you have to go forward as a performer.
The circus is a vast international community, and there's only one place to connect for jobs, events, the latest news, and so much more. CircusTalk.com. Join today.